NBC News, live in Times Square, Wednesday, January 9th, 2013. This is Good Morning America with Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos.
Coming into Times Square this morning. Good Morning America. Happy hump day to Robin at home. Sam is in Las Vegas, as you know, to judge the Miss America pageant. Welcome back to Josh from Miami. Amy Robach back again. Ginger Z. A lot of people here and a lot to get to this morning. Let's get right now to Josh with today's top stories.
All right, we're going to begin again with this continuing fight against the flu. This morning, dozens of states are now in the midst of an epidemic. Look here at Illinois, reporting at least 5 deaths with at least 150 other patients in intensive care at this hour. Hospitals struggling to keep up there, and ABC's Alex Perez in the middle of it all. Good morning to you in Chicago, Alex.
Well, good morning, Josh. This is one of the hospitals that had so many flu patients they had to turn some away. This is the earliest start to the flu season in a decade, and hospitals are scrambling to keep up.
This morning, emergency rooms across the country are being inundated with patients fighting the flu. A whopping 41 states are battling widespread outbreaks.
I couldn't breathe even more, like my face was all like sweaty.
In Chicago, at one point, 8 hospitals were diverting flu patients with non-life-threatening conditions from their own crowded ERs to those with fewer patients. At Northwestern Memorial, they've seen a 20% increase in flu patients, 30 to 50 people a day.
Everybody who needs to be admitted sits in the emergency department and stops up our space.
In Pennsylvania, so many flu patients, one hospital built a triage tent outside the ER. And at hospitals in Ohio, those with the flu must wear a mask. At least 18 children have died from the flu this season.
Our office in the last 2 weeks has exploded with children.
According to the CDC, the proportion of people seeing their doctor for flu-like symptoms jumped from 2.8% to 5.6%, doubling in just the last month.
And doctors say by washing your hands and using hand sanitizer, you can reduce your chances of becoming infected with the flu by as much as 30%. Josh?
All right, thank you, Alex. And again, get your flu shot.
Not much need for snow shovels this year or salt for the driveway, but there has been a run on one item at the hardware store, humidifiers. And as Roseanne Tellez reports, adding a little moisture goes a long way toward keeping you healthy, even fighting the flu.
In the morning when I wake up, my nose is stopped up, my throat is dry.
I woke up with dry throats in the morning, and I could definitely tell when blow drying my hair.
For Jessica Tobe, this was the solution. And hardware stores we visited say lots of people are investing in humidifiers this year.
The last 3-4 days, they've been flying out.
What if I just put a bowl of water in my living room?
Not going to work.
Rosenthal says the key is having the right amount of moisture in the air, and that can be measured with something called a hygrometer.
It should be like 45 to 55%.
Right.
If it's over that, you can breed mold and mildew.
But letting the air get too dry can make you sick.
This is what we call nosebleed season.
Dr. David Zich says moisture helps keep us healthy.
When the humidity drops below 20%, the influenza viruses actually thrive. There's actually germ fighters contained within the liquid that coats our eyes, nose, and mouth. If that dries up, you have obviously problems with nosebleeds, but also become more susceptible to infection.
Just as important as having the right amount of moisture is keeping your humidifier clean.
So a dirty humidifier can actually be more dangerous than no humidifier at all.
Well, the humidifiers we saw cost between $30 and $300. But if you're in a larger space or house, you may be better off getting smaller units for each room. Adding moisture also keeps your home warmer, we found out. So you won't need to crank up the heat as high. So maybe a little savings to make up for the investment.
Sure. That's right. Thank you, Roseanne.
Tonight, NBC5 and the Better Government Association investigate. You might assume police have a zero-tolerance policy. Officers shouldn't drink before coming into work, and if they do, they'll be disciplined.
But that's not the case for many local police departments, where contracts allow their cops to down 2, 3, and sometimes even more drinks before heading out on patrol. NBC5 investigates with Phil Rogers in the Better Government Association.
Robin Allison, Chicago police enforce a .02 limit on officers arriving for work. The idea being to allow for incidental amounts of alcohol or even things like cough syrup or mouthwash. But some other departments set their alcohol limits higher, much higher. On Wednesday, the Chicago City Council paid out $4.1 million because of this case. Chicago police officer Gildardo Sierra, who fired 3 shots into a wounded unarmed man. Those are the muzzle shots recorded on squad car video. Court documents say Sierra, who is now on desk duty, admitted having multiple beers before beginning his shift. Cops and alcohol. NBC5 Investigates and the Better Government Association have discovered that some departments actually allow their officers to show up for work after having a few drinks. And in many cases, the permitted levels are shocking.
I worry about it every day.
Here in West Suburban Westchester, Mayor Sam Puglia, a former Westchester cop himself, says he tried to stop ratification of a union contract which permits officers to work with blood alcohol levels up to .049.
I could argue that you're half drunk.
He's right. Legally drunk in Illinois is .08, but the state police say you can hit Westchester's .05 limit with 3 drinks. The union contract in Westchester says until you reach that point, you can't be disciplined. In the mayor's mind, a bad idea for a profession where you drive a squad car and carry a gun.
These are the things that are in the back of my head every day.
And it's not just Westchester. Police in Forest Park, Glendale Heights, and South Barrington also consider .05 the deal breaker. In Oak Park and Elmwood Park, the number is .08. Despite what their contracts say, both of those cities insist they would pull cops from duty if they showed up with any alcohol in their systems. But they'd have to suspect something first.
If those test results come in at anything greater than 0, we are not going to put that officer on the street.
But how much really is too much? Airline pilots can't even have a drink within 8 hours of their shifts. At the CTA, motormen and bus drivers can't drink within 4 hours of work.
Even at low levels, you cannot reliably perform without impairment.
Northwestern Hospital's Dr. David Zich says hundreds of studies confirm the effects of alcohol on things like driving and judgment.
Judgment, yes, especially at complex tasks.
They carry weapons, they drive cars at fast speeds, they have to make life and death decisions, and they shouldn't be impaired in any way.
Indeed, both the Illinois State Police and the Cook County Sheriff set their limits at no alcohol. A much wiser approach, say many experts, when life and death are on the line. The only safe level, judgment-wise, performance-wise, is 0?
Yes.
The police chief in Westchester, who declined our request for an interview, insists she would send officers home if she detects any kind of alcohol, even if she couldn't discipline them. Robin Allison?
Phil, thanks.